let's talk about Haribo. Welcome back to Sprung On Food. I'm your host, Kae Sprung. This season, we're talking about favorite foods, the history behind it, and the role it plays in the world today. Joining me today is Editor-in-Chief of Sporked, Justine Sterling. Justine, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I am very excited that you are here, another candy aficionado, so I'm into it. Haribo, as a whole, big fan, but you do have some specific varieties within that grouping that we will definitely touch on. But I've got to know all about your relationship with this food, why it's your favorite. Tell me everything.
I love Haribo. I think it's the ideal gummy candy. I kind of have this opinion that I don't really understand why other gummy candies even try. I know there's a lot of Albanese, gummy bears aficionados and lovers out there that will disagree, and they are respectfully extremely wrong. Haribo has this harder chew that no other gummy candy has, and that is kind of what I think sets it above all other gummy candies. I like a gummy candy that kind of puts you to work. I want to feel a little tired after I've had a few. I can't just if I chew through them, if they're softer, it's a fruit snack. It needs to be firmer. It needs to be a Haribo. I also appreciate the sheer quantity of varieties that there are with a Haribo. And I do think they also get the sour gummy candy right, which I think a lot of companies do not. They can't. There's something about their special sour sugar that no other company has been able to crack. But for me, it has always been you sit at home. This is back in my single days. You sit at home, you get a bottle of wine, you get a hunk of mozzarella or burrata, you have some fancy San Daniele prosciutto, maybe you have a nice tomato, and then you have a bag of sour sketty or the alphabets or the sour fruit salad. And that is the best night in the whole world. And I still sometimes my husband will be gone and I'll recapture those days a little bit. And a lot of times it will absolutely involve a bag of a Haribo. And I had one the other day and I ate half a bag of it. And then the next night I was like, I'm just going to eat the other half just to make sure I don't have it around. It's better for me if I just eat it all now. It's going to get eaten either way. I might as well just get out of the way and just have an evening. And but it's, I don't have that with anything else. If I have cookies in the house or whatever, it's fine. They'll sit there forever. But a bag of Haribo in the house, it's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't last.
No.
And so because of that, do you have a little stockpile, or do you have to kind of avoid keeping them around? Is it something you have to intentionally go out and get and know that they're probably going to be gone in 2.2 seconds? Or how does this work?
So because of my job, which involves tasting a lot of packaged foods, for whatever reason, we have Haribo around the office, whether we've been doing a gummy candy taste test, or just new products. Haribo very nicely sends stuff sometimes. So we have a stash. We have a stash at work sometimes that I will pull from. If I'm going on a flight, if we're going on a road trip, it's a favorite road trip candy of my husband and mine. We'll have some in the glove box or whatever that you can always pull out, and it kind of is really good at keeping you awake and focused on driving. So they seem to always be floating around. I don't think I have bought one at a grocery store in a while, because I think that's off limits for me because it comes up otherwise. But at a gas station, if you're driving far, that's when I'll get them. If I'm at a world market, they'll call it a cost plus world market, it's 1995 again. If I'm at a world market, they have a whole section of Haribo candies, and that's where you can find things they had this lemon iced tea one. You can get the weird one. Then I'm well, I've got to buy one because
it's novelty.
It's just deductible for me at this point if I'm buying a bunch of Haribo candy here. So they always seem to just float around, and sometimes I'll just kind of find a bag and latch onto it and be like, it's mine now. But yeah, I do have to pace myself, and they do kind of live in the back of the pantry.
And do you remember perhaps any kind of pivotal moment in your life where you were introduced to this candy in particular?
Because I can kind of I can like guess when it happened because
Oh.
it wasn't when I was a kid. Like I'm sure the gold bears were around, like their version of a gummy bear. I'm sure that was floating through my life when I was a kid, and I have a feeling I just thought that's what all gummy bears were.
Mm.
But there is a time before Haribo, and then there was
Mm.
a time after Haribo.
That's the timeline. Yeah,
Happened
sure.
sometime in my like maybe I was 20 or something like that. You think when you're younger, like, well, when I'm growing up, like, yeah, I get to do whatever I want. I get to have candy for dinner. And then you
Yeah,
grow up and
you're
you're like,
right.
no, I'm not. And then you're like, actually, I absolutely am. And that is what's happening.
Mhm.
Turns out I'm still just like
Yes.
old.
Oh, I love it.
And now they've even started including, and I don't love this, but I appreciate it.
Oh.
They have the gummy fried eggs. So it really does feel like a meal.
Well, of course, to better understand and appreciate our food, we've got to know where it came from. When it comes to gummy candy, there's one name that towers above the rest: Haribo. A brand so iconic, and not just gummy bears either. I'm talking sour sketty, alphabet letters, and fruit salad gummies too. We're peeling back the wrapper on Haribo's century old story, from its humble beginnings in post World War I Germany to its position as a global candy powerhouse. We'll trace how Haribo reshaped confectionery culture one gummy bite at a time. Haribo was founded in 1920 by a man named Hans Riegel in Bonn, Germany. And you might think, Haribo, that's got to be the name of the bear, the mascot, right? Well, it's not. It's a portmanteau of Hans's name and hometown. So the first two letters from each: HA from Hans, RI from Riegel, and BO from Bonn, Germany. Now, let's set the scene. Europe is still reeling from the aftershocks of the First World War. Germany is economically ravaged, but Hans, a trained confectioner, decides to launch his own candy company. His factory is a simple kitchen: a copper pot, a marble slab, and one bicycle for deliveries. That's it. It's a classic bootstrap startup story. By 1922, just 2 years in, Hans creates something that changes candy forever: the Gummibärchen, the original gummy bear. But let's be clear, these weren't the squat, friendly bears you see in plastic bags today. These were inspired by dancing bears from folk festivals and street fairs. Think leaner, taller, like actual bears. And you might be asking, what do you mean dancing? Well, today this would be a PETA nightmare, but these bears, often chained and trained to dance to music, were popular street attractions, especially for working class families who didn't have access to circuses or more formal entertainment. So these early bears were a nod to these furry entertainers in the form of a sweet treat. The original formula for the candy used gum arabic, sugar, fruit flavoring, and starch. Gelatin, which gives modern gummies their distinctive chew, wouldn't come into play until later, so these original bears were vegetarian queens. Justine, what do you think about the inspiration for these original gummy bears?
I have to say, I was coming into this being like, I don't really know much about the history of Haribo. I
Hmm.
I was afraid it would be dark, and it is a little bit, and
Mm.
I'm pleased with that. I think I mean, I'm not pleased with what happened to the bears. I'm very sad for what happened to the bears. However, I do think, being a child of the 80s and a lot of the terrifying things that we watched as children, I think a lot of joy in life comes from a lot of dark, awful things. So it actually, I think
Mm.
I'm glad. I'm glad my favorite gummy bears are based off of this sad and terrifying past. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for in the defense of Haribo, they were not the ones conducting the actual
Sure.
bears. They were the inspiration. So we'll take them off the hook for that. But yes, the
Celebrating the
fact that
best.
that was a thing, yeah, kind of unsettling for sure. Well, by the 1930s, Haribo was booming in Germany. Its colorful treats and playful branding made it a favorite among children and savvy adults who understood the power of a sugar rush. But World War II hit hard. Hans Riegel was drafted into the German army and died in 1945 at just the age of 51. During the war, Haribo struggled to maintain operations with sugar shortages and labor issues. When the war ended, only about 30 employees remained from the original 400 at its peak. But who better to pick up the pieces than his sons, Hans Jr. and Paul? They took the reins in the post-war years and initiated one of the most successful rebranding efforts in confectionery history. In the 1950s, Europe was in baby boom era, and the image of childhood was shifting. Rather than referencing old world folk traditions like dancing bears, which were increasingly viewed as archaic and even cruel, Haribo wanted a more modern, friendly, and childlike mascot. By this time, Haribo was not only back in business, it was thriving. In 1960, they introduced more gummy innovations, refined the original bear into what we now recognize as the Gold Bear. This was the rounded, cheerful, fruit-flavored character that launched a global gummy renaissance. And then came the jingle, arguably one of the most effective pieces of branding in German advertising history.
Geschmack, da bin ich riesengroß. Es gibt noch viele Beeren, die glänzen wollen, aber nicht alles, was glänzt, ist Gold. Haribo Goldbeeren, nur echt mit der roten Schleife.
Haribo macht Kinder froh und Erwachsene ebenso.
This catchy line, which translates to Haribo makes children happy and adults too, first introduced in the 1960s, became a national earworm and a crucial part of Haribo's identity. It lives on to this day like the McDonald's I'm loving it of gummies. Had you ever heard this jingle?
I've heard the jingle, but in my head, it was just like, Haribo, Haribo, la 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 Haribo. And so I didn't think of them having words at all. But it looked like the bear was saying that it was strong. Were they supposed to be healthy?
I'm not fluent in German, so I don't know the rest of it. I'm sure I could translate it, but yeah, but we do see him kind of flexing. So maybe they make you stronger. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a subliminal message within. But yes, I mean, you're welcome. That will now probably be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. Are there any other maybe jingles or songs from other companies or brands that have that kind of effect to where that's like a forever earworm seared into your memory?
I think Crumbelievable was stuck in my head forever, which was it was a version
what
of
is that?
Crumbelievable. Oh, it was a version of that song from the 90s. But it was like an ad for cheese crumbles, and they were Crumbelievable.
For cheese.
And that will absolutely just pop into my head.
Wow.
sometime for sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously you have your Mentos as well. That one I think is a real coup de grace. That's a great, that's a good one. A nice original one too.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, Crumbelievable though.
It's funny because the sound bite that you just sang sounds very familiar.
Because it's a song.
When you said it was crumbled.
Yeah.
Right. It's a riff off of a song. Yeah.
Right. It was marketing cheese to kids as being cool and extreme and good for skateboarding, I think.
Oh,
That's
naturally, of course. Yes. The gummy bears are making you stronger. The crumbled cheese makes you better at skateboarding. This is advertising at its finest.
That's the 90s all in one. Yeah.
Haribo began exporting to neighboring European countries in the 1960s, but its real international breakthrough came in 1982 when it entered the US market. And fun fact, gummy bears had already been introduced to American consumers thanks to Hermann Goelitz's, now Jelly Belly, and Trolli, another German confectionery company. But Haribo's Gold Bears had the clout and the consistency. They quickly became the de facto standard for the gummy bear candy in the States with their unique chew, the bright, tart, sweet flavors like raspberry, orange, pineapple, lemon, and strawberry, which are curiously the color green. By the early 2000s, Haribo was selling in over 100 countries, and in 2023, the company opened its first North American production facility in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, a 500,000 square foot plant. Today, Haribo remains a family-owned business operated by the Regal family with over 7,000 employees worldwide. Justine, it's very impressive that after all these years, it's still a family company. Is a family business something that you would ever be able to do?
I love that. I actually come from a family business.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I feel very connected to Haribo now. I feel very good and encouraged by my fandom of them, and that feels nice that it's not and then Blackwater came in and bought Haribo. Yeah, me and this German family.
Yeah,
lovely.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Well,
now let's unwrap the really fun part, the weird and wonderful extensions of the Haribo universe. Justine, we're about to tap into your favorites. First up, we have Haribo's Sour Sketty, a candy that dares to ask, what if pasta, but sour? Launched in 2008, each bag contains long, thin, gummy strands that resemble spaghetti noodles dusted with tart, mouth-puckering sour sugar coating. The strands are typically red for strawberry, green for apple, and blue for blue raspberry. Introduced as part of Haribo's expansion into more experiential candies, Sour Sketty was developed in response to the popularity of tactile, playful sweets in the North American and UK markets. It's not a German mainstay. This is very much an export-targeted product. The appeal lies not only in the sour-sweet flavor profile combo, but also in the interactivity. Kids and adults can twist them, stretch them, tie them into knots, or eat them like Lady and the Tramp. They embody a trend in the late 20th century candy culture, treats that also sort of doubled as toys. And this mentality very much plays into another Sprung On Food episode, The History of String Cheese, which you can catch on YouTube or available wherever you get your podcasts. Justine, are there any other foods that come to mind that kind of double as toys or are super interactive?
I mean, I do think, again, the 90s was very big into that with your Dunkaroos and those crackers with the red thing that you would like spread the cheese on as well. There is another Haribo candy that is the licorice that's like rolled up into like a pinwheel.
Huh?
I always like to like, unroll that and like kind of dissect it and take it apart. I think anything that you can like kind of dissect and take apart, even like an Oreo kind of counts in that way of like there's a way of making it your own in terms of how you're eating it, of like, I'm going to twist it, I'm going to scrape it, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that I think is very like fun. And as somebody that I do like, I think a lot of my favorite foods are things that I can kind of like get at with my hands, whether it's like a shrimp boil or I mean any sort of like seafood that you can really go at, or like a hot pot or something that you're really like constructing your own little bites is very, very pleasing to me. So that this all kind of connects and makes sense too.
Yeah, it's kind of hitting all of the senses. It's a little bit of play. Maybe it's working on that neuroplasticity. I'm not sure. And then the satisfaction too of like eating the different components and the parts and making it into a puzzle. I'm totally on board. And then even what flashed into my mind as you said about maybe there was no wrong way to eat it. There was that tagline for Reese's. I think it was specifically in the 90s that they had their tagline, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. Also, shout out to the Reese's history episode of Sprung On Food, where you can get wherever you get your podcasts. But yes, and that also is a food too that they showcased all the different ways that you can kind of like, you know, nibble around the corners, eat it down the middle, punch a hole in the middle.
Like then I eat the top, and it's a whole, it's a real process. There was also those roll-ups for a while that you could like pull out shapes from and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
More of that. Yes. More of that. I'd like more of that.
I know.
I would eat an edible puzzle. Like I love puzzles. I would love to put together a puzzle and then I would love to eat it.
Okay. You are very much intertwined in all of these different CPG companies. I'm saying we're coming up with some great ideas here. Who can we pitch this to that would make a fabulous edible puzzle? What type of a food do you think would perform the best in this application?
For whatever reason, cheese is the first thing that I'm thinking of. I don't think that's right. You don't want something you don't want something too soft.
I'm into
you
it.
Also don't want something too
into it.
You can't do like a straight cracker, but like a cheddar cheese puzzle.
Right.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, what if it was a very firm cracker and cheddar cheese pieces, and you have like your own cheese and cracker party puzzle situation?
And you can do it with and salami. I'm sure what
this is good.
Thick cut salami. So yeah, Lunchables. Hello, come at me.
Listen, and because this happened here, I will get a 10% cut, virtual handshake. We're good to go. Okay.
Okay, great.
Well, next we have Haribo alphabets. They're a throwback to a very specific brand of childhood joy, spelling your name before eating it. While Haribo hasn't announced a precise debut year, alphabet letters appear to have been introduced in the late 1990s, early 2000s, becoming firmly established across Europe and the UK around 2010. Each letter is a squishy piece, usually offered in multi-fruit assortments. This product has been especially popular in Europe and the UK, where it's often described as playful, educational snacks. Retailers highlight how kids and even adults can spell out words with them and learn while snacking. What's notable about alphabets is their texture, a bit firmer than the Gold Bear. The letters are often a sense of personalization. Kids love the search and destroy mission of finding their favorite letter or spelling out funny or inappropriate words before eating them, and a heck of a lot easier to make words with than mushy pasta from alphabet soup. Spelling names or words with the gummies, is that something that you practice when you get them?
I can't say I spell with them. I do have specific ways I like to eat them. I think my real appeal with the alphabets is the sheer number of shapes that you get, so that you can eat like a tail of a Z, you can eat like a little butt of a B. There's these like different textural nipples you can to really go for it. But I have not introduced these to my children yet. They're too firm. They cannot handle the Haribo yet. They don't have the jaw strength. But when they do, I think I will probably do it under the guise like, you can have these, but first spell me a word. Now you can eat the word, and then I'll feel like I'm a good mom.
Yes, the educational component, and then of course the reward at the end. I think you're nailing motherhood. I'm just saying.
That's it.
And then we have fruit salad, the Haribo kind. Similar to the alphabets, an exact launch date is hard to peg down, but they likely came out around the same time in the early or mid-2010s. Haribo fruit salad is a mix of fruit-shaped gummies ranging from their classic mix to tropical in the forms of bananas, cherries, oranges, and pineapples. The texture is softer and more jelly-like, and the fruit flavors are sharper and more pronounced than in the Gold Bears. This mix reflects Haribo's emphasis on region-specific blends. While fruit salad gummies aren't as ubiquitous in the US, it's a fan favorite in the UK and throughout Europe, where it appears regularly in multi-packs and assorted grab bags. What sets it apart to many consumers is its range of flavor accuracy. The oranges taste like orange. The pineapples taste like pineapple. The snozzberries taste like snozzberries. No, just kidding. That flavor hasn't been released yet. It's less about whimsy and more about flavor-forward design, giving it a slightly more adult feel. Justine, if there is not a fruit out there that you know of that they currently make, which fruit flavor do you think there should be or isn't represented yet that maybe is like a favorite of yours in real life?
Okay.
Fruit world.
They might do this, but if they do, I'm not aware of it. I would love a yuzu. Let's get fancy with it. Like, I would love a yuzu.
Ooh. Yeah.
I would love, since moving to Los Angeles, we've had a lot more of these like golden berries. They're kind of like these big golden gooseberries. Love one of those. I'd love, you know what I'd really love? Currants, red currants, little tiny gummy red currants. Do that. And that's very European. So do that.
It is very European. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we've got our list of things to pitch to Lunchables, to Haribo. This is going to be great. I cannot wait to see all of these items on the shelves. I'll be the first to purchase them to support our new endeavor.
Absolutely.
Well, as beloved as Haribo is, it hasn't been without controversy. In 2017, the German documentary series Markencheck, or Brand Check, aired an expose on Haribo's supply chains. It criticized working conditions on plantations, harvesting canaba wax used to give gummies their glossy finish, and animal welfare in the gelatin industry. Haribo responded by launching audits and promising tighter supply chain oversight. Additionally, Haribo's use of animal-derived gelatin has led to calls for vegan alternatives. Well, in recent years, Haribo has responded, especially in European markets, by launching gelatin-free or vegetarian versions of some products, including special editions of Gold Bears made with pectin or starch, kind of going back to the original bear recipe. They're also expanding into low-sugar options. Now, bust out your pocket protector because we're about to go into some data and crunch some numbers. Today, Haribo's production spans 16 factories worldwide, with 4 in Germany and 12 more across other countries. Throughout its various global facilities, it produces more than, Justine, can you guess how many gummies in total, not just the bears, they produce per day?
I'm so bad at numbers. I'll go with an even 10 million.
10 million. Okay. Well, by Price is Right rules, you would win, but I might just blow your mind. It's actually 100 million gummies per day.
That's wild.
And in their US Wisconsin facility, they produce around, okay, let's play our game again. How many pounds of gummies per year do you think that this Wisconsin facility is projected to generate in 2025? So just this US facility, how many pounds of gummies?
Again, so bad. Reaching into my brain, pulling out a random number.
Carry the two. Yeah.
Let's say 50 million.
50 million. Okay. Also by Price is Right rules, killing it. But here we are at 132 million pounds of gummies. Can you even imagine in your mind's eye what that would look like? Probably bliss for you, but wow.
It's a real like Scrooge McDuck kind of.
100%. Yes. I just got that image as I was just thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, no, that's totally what's going down. There's a massive, massive pool somewhere just filled with, I mean, I can't even, in my mind's eye, I don't even know what that translates to. All those millions of pounds. I don't know what kind of a size, a lake. I have no idea. I'm really not sure. Well, Haribo holds the title as the #1 gummy brand worldwide and a leading player in the global $70 billion sugar confectionery segment. In the US, Haribo ranks 3rd in sugar candy sales, trailing. Would it surprise you if I said that it was Skittles and Twizzlers?
I gotta say, I'm a bit surprised by the Twizzlers of it all. As a Red Vines apologist, I can't believe Twizzlers are that big.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I would agree. Skittles, I could imagine just because they do have so many different variations of Skittles. Twizzlers, I was surprised. And the only reason that I could think of was just maybe because of movie theaters. Other than that, I was, confused about that one. So where does Haribo go from here? With its first U.S. factory now humming along in Wisconsin and plans for further expansion in Latin America and Asia, Haribo isn't slowing down. And it's pretty evident with the over 1,000 products they produce. Whether you're picking out your initials from an alphabet bag, twisting sour sketties into knots, or hosting a snack-sized fruit salad party in your palm, these gummies are memory, play, and flavor in equal measure. Justine, what do you think about this backstory of Haribo?
I am overjoyed to know so much more about them. And I'm so proud, again, that they're family owned and that they are trying their best to listen to customers. It is so rare to actually like find out nice things about a company that you like. So hooray. Except for the dancing bears.
Right. But of course, we cannot blame them for that. They were not, as far as we know, owning these bears, making them shimmy and shake it for crowds. They were just the source of inspiration for that original version, which then they said, no more. We're going to make them into more cartoon-like and fun for the family in a different type of a way. So I'm so pleased that this checked those boxes. And yeah, I mean, the biggest scandal was, in all things considered, not nearly as bad as a lot of other companies. So yeah, way to go, Haribo, doing pretty good. Yeah.
For sure, exactly.
With a legacy this sweet, you can bet Haribo has made it into pop culture. The classic Disney TV show, The Adventures of Gummy Bears from 1985 to 1991, was reportedly inspired by Haribo's gummy bears. Contemporary artist Carly Mark gained attention for her food packaging art, particularly her reinterpretations of Haribo gummy bear wrappers. Her work has been exhibited in institutions like MoMA and reported by media, including the Washington Post. In January 2024, Haribo of America created the world's largest gummy art mosaic made entirely of gold bears at University of Wisconsin Parkside. Okay, we're going to enter into our guessing game again, once more. Can you guess how many square feet the mosaic was and or how many gold bears were used for it?
Okay, mosaic. I'm going to guess it's thinking of my apartment. Okay, I'm going to say it is 700 square feet. And I will say that is made of 1.5 million gold bears.
Okay, well, perhaps if we kind of expanded on the one that they did, this might hit that mark, and I would love to see your version. This one's a little bit more petite, but still impressive. It is 353 square feet, nothing to sneeze at, and has around 150,000 gold bears, which actually I would have thought more for that kind of space, but I don't know. That's apparently how many there were.
That's good to know. That was the size of my studio apartment when I lived in the East Village. So I have a very good image of what that would be. It's where I did a lot of gummy eating. So that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. So it was a former apartment size, and that will be the reference point from here on out. Perfect. And Haribo loves a collab. In June 2025, Haribo teamed up with the band Lincoln Park to release a concert-exclusive gummy mix featuring 6 new flavors and shapes, including a microphone, skull, and turntable. Only sold at select concert locations, the buzz and resale prices peaked at $60 per bag. Haribo has also done a limited edition campaign with Adele in 2024. They were heart-shaped sweets sold at her Munich concerts. Harry Potter-themed gummies, also in 2024, across Europe, and a collaborative line with Crocs in 2025, turning gummies into shoe shapes. And not too long ago, some viral videos started to go around with a Haribo packaging hack showing a way to peel down a seam from the back of the bag, providing a way to take out the gummies to eat, and then folding down the bag and using the bag's thread to wrap around and close off the bag to keep things contained and fresh. Justine, I would like to assume you might be familiar, but I shouldn't assume. Are you familiar with this hack for the bags?
I am not familiar with this hack. I will be trying it immediately. It will probably go up on our social account if it works out. I'm shocked. I'm ashamed I don't know about it. I'm very excited to try it.
Listen, it's never too late to learn something new, and then this could be a great practice if it all works out the same as it shows in the videos. I'll send you a link to show how to do it after this. And knowledge is power. And then clips and rubber bands and tape be gone, and hopefully this works out.
Yeah, this is enough to save the environment here. The amount of waste that we will do away with because of this hack, we've done it.
This company is doing way more than they know right now. So this is pretty amazing. And we're helping to spread the gospel. Are there any other pop culture moments that you can think of where Haribo or your gummy candies made their mark, or any final words that you have about your favorite food?
I do just want to touch on the Disney gummy bears of it all. I did have those one, it's one of the best theme songs ever made. And I believe it was written by the same guy that did the DuckTales theme song, which was the other best theme song ever made. So good on that guy. Please, everybody go listen to that song. It's incredible. Oh. But on top of that, I did have them as bath toys for a while. And like when I was like a kid, obviously when I was a kid, I don't have a lot of bath toys now, but one had a cape, and that cape
no judgment. Yeah.
The cape was incredible to chew on, much like Haribo gummies. So full circle, it's all good.
Incredible. Well, Justine, thank you so much for sharing your love of Haribo and helping me to tell its story.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was really, really fun to learn.
Thanks for watching. You can find links and more info in the description below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. See you next time.